All right, baby, we back.
Yes, sir.
we
back.
go. Yeah,
back,
man.
baby,
Yeah.
back with my little, I love being with my baby bro, man.
We get to put in the work, man.
Well, but this is like quality time too, because we both entrepreneurs and we're busy with different things, but it's great to have this moment in time that we know every week we're going to sit down and just hold some meaningful conversation. It's just good to catch up.
Yeah.
Iron sharpens iron, brother.
That's it.
So it's kind of nice to always look forward to, hey, Wednesday morning, I'm going to see my little brother and we're going to lay down some stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I couldn't wait, honestly. Like since the last podcast, I've just been jacked up, man. And you said you've been getting some really good feedback on Mind Over Matter, the one we dropped last week.
Well, it's been great because, we hadn't released a podcast in a couple of years. We had over 100 episodes out there and people really liked us and followed us. And then all of a sudden we said, all right, let's do this thing again. But we added a little twist by videotaping it. So, now we have a YouTube channel so they can not only see the podcast, but actually see us doing our thing. And what's great is we don't rehearse anything. We just sit down and kind of, chat about what it is that comes to mind. But people have been like, man, glad you guys are back. What I found very interesting was, we talked about Mind Over Matter in the new book and how excited I am about dropping, book number 6, right? But we talked about the difference between being injured and being hurt. And I've gotten so much feedback on that.
That's so, man, that's
like so much feedback on how that makes so much sense. Like I never really considered that, but it's
such a simple concept.
It is, but it's that hurt that really help us to mentally grow, to be mentally strong, to be able to, like, when those injuries do show up, we know how to deal with it. And so dude, I'm jacked. So I'm like, okay.
And then you find yourself in a couple of conversations. I found myself in a couple of conversations where you're like, are you hurt or are you injured? Like asking myself,
no doubt,
or asking somebody else.
No doubt.
You're okay.
No doubt.
Well, that was easy.
Yeah.
That was like that didn't have to be a big deal.
No. And again, I view it as, physical fitness. I mean, you go in and you lift and you start light and you try to over time work up to be able to lift with a little more resistance. And it's just consistency. So I think it's the same thing with mental toughness.
So we were talking a little bit. We don't do a lot of prep work, but we talked about later what's running around in our heads. And I told you I was thinking a lot about emotional intelligence. And then you were just like, okay, we can roll with that for this podcast.
Hey, baby brother, want that? That's what we go with, right? But you know what? I think emotional intelligence is a very good subject for today, right? And when I think about it, it's just this ability to really have self-awareness. That's what emotional intelligence is. It's being able to like really know who you are, but also be able to like dial into where other people are and kind of meet people where they are, right?
Awareness, right?
So self-awareness for me is more than just knowing who I am. For me, it's really knowing who I'm not. You know what I mean? Like I've been able to, I think, stay focused and hit my marks a lot just because I stay in my lane. Like I know like this isn't who I am. And I won't let things change me into something that I'm not, right? Like it's like you're not going to steal my joy or make me into a person that I know I'm not. And I think, it takes a lot of self-awareness to know who you are as a person, know your value so you have a voice. But I also think it takes even more to say, hey, that's just not who I am. That's not for me. Hey, wish you guys well, but I'm going to keep moving in this direction, which is interesting. We have my book, Focus to Win, sitting out on the table. And that's really what that book's about. It's about knowing your value, making you self-aware of, how do you go behind these words? What does adversity really mean, right? When you say it versus someone else say it. So I think that's all a part of, this emotional intelligence is first and foremost, man. You just got to be self-aware, knowing who you are, but more importantly, just knowing who you're not,
Man, you just come in with the fire. That's like right out of the gates with the fire, Coach. I love it.
I like to tell you, I'm like old Baptist preacher. I ain't gonna trouble you long. You know what I mean? Be like Noah King. Straight to the point, but effective. And again, I think it goes. really what our philosophy is we try to keep things really simple and put them in a way that people can kind of comprehend it and say, oh, I can get that, right? Yeah, I do know who I am, but who I'm not.
Yeah.
And so if I'm not that, I'm not going to allow people to push me in that direction.
Yeah.
And this is interesting because I was just looking at this interview with Matthew McConaughey, and he was saying how early in his career he was known as the rom-com guy. Like he had those romantic comedies, he had them down,
right? And
that's what people wanted to cast him in. And he made a conscious decision that, like, no, I'm going to rebrand. That's not who I am. I'm more than that.
Yeah.
And hey, for 20 months, man, no work.
There it is.
Because he kept turning it down until he got other roles, like Mud and those types of things. But he realized that I'm not that.
Yeah.
Even though you say I'm not, you say I'm that, right? And I can get paid for that, but I'm so much more than that.
Okay. So I see you bringing in the cinema reference. Hey, look,
man,
a little Hollywood.
Look, I like to be well read, as they say.
A little bit of a cinephile, right?
Yeah. So self-awareness is great. And the other thing I would say when it comes to emotional intelligence is self-regulation. It's like, how do you regulate yourself, right? So are you waking up and running around, just letting your day happen? Or are you really being strategic about how you want your day to go? Like, how are you really regulating that? And to me, that's like time management. How do I regulate my time?
Yeah.
Am I being stingy with that, or I'm letting people take that?
Yeah.
Because again, I think the responsibility of moving through life ultimately falls on you. I mean, it shows up for everyone, right? And nobody gets to go through life easy. I tell everybody, let me know the day that you wake up and everything's 100.
Right.
Let me know that day. You know what I mean?
I'm calling you.
Yeah.
I'm calling.
Yeah. Let me know that day, because if you are really living life, there's always something.
There's always something. Yeah.
So how do you regulate that?
Yeah. I like to think of it like we are on a speck of dirt.
Yep.
Flying through infinite space.
Yes.
At millions and millions and millions of miles, just rotating, and yet we think we're going to be comfortable. We think it's going to be easy,
and it never stops.
And it never.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It never stops.
Yeah.
And so again, that's why I say it's like, how are you regulating all of this?
There you go.
How are you dealing with all of these distractions that are coming? Every day. They're not going to stop. It's going to be continuous.
Well, and I even think to like where you started with that awareness, self-awareness is like, we were made for so much more, and to be in sync and in rhythm with how we were built, like how we were designed, and not, I look at schools and I look at work, companies and just the corporate environment and the capitalist society and just the idea of just like, we have to keep moving and we've trained ourselves, we've trained our kids with measurements like speed, memorization, but coping skills and emotional intelligence and the ability to handle difficult situations and not overreact. And
I agree 100%, but it goes back to the original podcast that we just kicked off about mind over matter, right? Yeah. In living life and really getting the most that life has to offer, it's really about how do you flow. You can't, like, look, everything can't be measured. Like, to me, the best cooking is, my mother never measured anything. And to me, she's the best cook in the world, right? But I think it's like being able to be aware and to regulate and to flow, right? Whatever the container is, can you fill it up and be okay?
Yeah.
And that's a skill, right? That takes me to, when again, I'm looking at emotional intelligence, that takes me to social skills and people skills. I think that's part of being emotionally intelligent is, today, because of, social media and kids are always down on their phones and adults are always down on their phones. But are you really developing social skills? Like, can you hold a conversation? Can I look you in the eye and really, feel what it is you're saying, which is another part of emotional intelligence, right? Which is empathy. So if I can't, come to you with great social skills and people skills, my level of empathy is probably not going to be where it needs to be, right? Because it's going to be all about me. And when it's all about me, what you do and what you say that really doesn't matter because I'm going to always try to bring that conversation back to me. And that's a form of emotional intelligence that I see every single day now. Like I could be holding a conversation with someone and really saying, hey, this is how I feel. But if they don't hear it, because their people skills, their social skills aren't where they need to be, right? They don't really hear what I'm saying. That emotional intelligence is going to make me feel like, hey, that's not good. That's why that whole self-awareness of saying, you can't make me feel bad. You know what I mean? I'm in a place in my life now, bro. It's hard to offend me. You know what I mean? I've been called it all and everything. But my emotional intelligence allows me to be able to do that. Basically, when I got over 50, and I'm well over 50 now, but when I got over 50, I just really made a decision, man. I'm just not arguing with people. If you say 1 and 1 is 5, okay. You know what I mean?
It's not that important.
But that's a form of emotional intelligence, right? That again, that goes back to knowing who I am,
right.
Being able to regulate my emotions, and having incredible social skills, and people skills that say, I'm not going to let you move me out of a good space.
Well, and one thing I know about you is you recognize your foundation, the characters in your life that help get you to where you are today, and something that you're always talking about is how important those influences have been. Your mom, your granddad, neighbors, friends, family, coaches, and I think first of all, self-awareness, self-regulation, flow. And then ultimately, I think, we landed right there on just the concept of making sure that we pay attention to who we are and how important our influence is on other people, how well we listen to other people. And those people skills, I think they come from knowing a little bit more about like your story. And I think story to me is a big part of this emotional intelligence and not forgetting those experiences. I know in my instances, or in certain instances, I might have forgotten all the amazing things that had happened in my business. If sales are down, like, can I go back to those moments? Not get stuck there, but recognize those were like pivotal moments. Same thing with relationships.
Well, I think that is what gets you to the other side, right? It literally goes back to your culture. And being able to go back and reflect on those wins is what totally helps you keep pushing forward, which, again, if I'm talking emotional intelligence, it takes me to motivation. And motivation to me is a self thing. No one can motivate you. They can inspire you. And I love when you said stories, because for me, it is the stories of my parents and my grandparents and the people in my community. It is those stories that allow me to stay motivated, because I know the price that was paid. I made a statement this week. I was talking to Rhonda, who heads up my marketing team. And I said to her that I really feel like at this place in my life that all of my ancestors it's come full circle. Like I feel like they're all in the room with me now.
Wow.
Like all of the things that they were trying to teach me and the stories that they told and the direction that they wanted me to go, I truly feel like, no, I've connected now. Like I really got it. Took me a while to get here, but that's emotional intelligence though. That's right. That's continually doing the work. That's continually staying motivated, wanting to be better. I would love at some point in time, I told you, for my grandkids to say, it was easy to see what my papa stood for. I mean, his work speaks for itself. Like they don't have to guess. Because I think it will help them in their lives. Because they can look at my story. So all I'm doing is trying to pay it forward. Right. And so when I think of emotional intelligence, man, for me, it's like, what are we trying to pay forward? Like, how do you want this thing? What's your end game?
What's your end game?
What's your end game? And if your end game is to build bridges, to be kind, right? To help people, to lift as you climb, Okay, this isn't hard.
This is not hard.
This is not hard
at that point.
This is not
literally just so simple.
It is,
so
but
simple.
but if your end game is to constantly complain and criticize and well, it's going to just be
compare,
a long life. And compare things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's and there's no need for that. Like I think
we don't need it.
Dude, we're living at an incredible time where there's so much information.
Yeah.
Right. It's coming at you every day. I think the hardest thing is trying to figure out what's true, what's not.
Yeah.
But that boils down to a you thing.
Yeah.
You know, my mother used to say at some point, you know what's right. You know what I mean? You know what's right at some point.
Yeah.
And then you have to be willing to be motivated enough every day to do it.
Yeah.
Even if the world around you is not. We talked a little bit earlier about I love what we do, not only on the podcast side, but even the videos that you and I we put together and stuff. Unlike most people, is not to go viral.
Right.
This is our conversation, and it's like the books I write. I tell people it's really therapy for me. I need to get that stuff out of my head.
Yeah.
And if it happens to help other people, then great.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's
this podcast started 102 episodes ago.
Yeah.
With, hey, we should just record our conversations.
No doubt about it. and look, and it's great if we end up with a million followers. That's beautiful. That means that we have Age Nation is really grown.
That's right.
And we hopefully have a group of people who understand the power of building bridges and being kind and lifting as you climb. Right.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, I get to sleep well at night knowing that we're giving good information. We're giving good information about, how to challenge yourself and to challenge this life.
So lifting as you climb, it makes me think of that t-shirt you got on there. Skills in the Hills.
Skills in the Hills.
I know you took a group of young people into the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
You and John Michael.
Yeah, me and JM, man. We
tell us the story. Tell us why did you do that? And what was ultimately the outcome?
Well, I like to say that God's funny. Like sometimes he just shows off. JM and I have been friends, since 1990. And he finally left corporate America and said, look, I'm going to come have fun with you, cause you seem to be having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it just turns out that he had this colleague that he worked with who was in corporate America and kind of did the same thing. And he bought 200 acres in Virginia, in the mountains, dude. And it's amazing. It was like a camp, and it was actually where Elizabeth Cooper Ross wrote, the 5 stages of grief. And when I'm there, I actually stay in her cabin.
Wow.
And her office that she wrote it is like really, dude, it's when you're there, you kind of feel like, okay. And it's a place of healing.
It's got a presence.
Matter of fact, we call the mountain cabin the Healing Waters cabin, mountain cabin. And so in talking to Matt and Deb, who owns the place, husband and wife that owns the place, they have 4 wonderful kids. And he said, look, I wanted this to be a place that we can do leadership retreats, for corporate executives, for also, kids. And so we were fortunate enough, man, to have a school and be able to take their leadership group of FFA, Future Farmers of America. And we were able to do this 4-day camp in the woods, teaching leadership, teaching teamwork, exactly like we would for corporate America.
Yeah.
We're talking obstacle course. Tires.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on.
Yeah.
And climbing the mountain to get to the summit. So Skills in the Hills was about, and when you get to the summit, there's this place called the Fire Tower. When you get there, you're actually overlooking the Shenandoah Valley. So it's an incredible view.
Whew.
And so for 4 days, these young adults, they worked to be able to get to the summit.
Wow.
And take in that view. And of course, they had a moment. We gave them a moment to be able to just take it all in, to get a selfie, to really enjoy. And the whole idea is that when they're going through hard stuff in their lives, they're able to look back at these moments and say, hey, we know what hard is. We've done some hard, and pull on that, like we just said, right? Those memories, and to be able to keep moving forward. So that's one of the things that we're doing. We have a place up in Virginia, and we do corporate executive retreats and kid retreats, and We're actually Matt's talking about putting in a pickleball court, and maybe we'll hold some tournaments up in the mountains.
I mean,
I know that's got
you already opened.
There it is.
All right,
there it is, right there, right.
That's all I needed right there. Let's go play some pickleball.
Yeah, so it's good.
Let's go so.
Yeah. So it's good, man. It's ATVs and zip lines and but I think all of that is important, especially when you're trying to create emotional intelligence.
Well, when you've exhausted yourself physically.
Yes.
And your mind is like at a point where it's teetering on giving up or
right.
just taking a break and just, doubt starts to creep in, but now you've trained it and you're getting the information and somebody believes in you and you get that support and you just take one more step and build that emotional intelligence.
Well, it comes, it's really a place where you may come as an individual, but you leave as a team. You leave knowing that it's bigger than you, and you learn to work through some stuff. And so what's great about it is not only just the physical stuff that we put you through, but then we actually give you presentations that you have to do.
Wow.
So you have to take, all this physical stuff. What did you learn from it? And how can that help you in your life? How can it help your teammates in your life? So I love doing it with young adults because, again, we're really trying to create this emotional intelligence that, let's be honest, quite frankly, they don't get much of because of the phones and constantly, being fed this type of information. So having them to phones are locked away. Yeah. Now we're locking eyes and we're putting in work, and you got to verbally communicate and physically communicate with the people that you're dealing with. Yeah. To complete a task.
I love that. My one of my best friends from college is a guy named Trey Killingsworth, and his son Sean Killingsworth in high school started this group. He was in classes, or he was in school, maybe in between classes, whatever. And he said all of his friends were like zombies because they were all on their phones and they would not just break away and have normal conversation. So he started this thing called the Reconnect movement. He started in his high school down in Orlando. Then he took it to UCF and it blew up. It's basically kids walk into the room, they put their phone away. It's like a phone locker. Yeah. And anyway, long story short, now he was just published in the New York Times for starting a movement. It's on campuses now called the Reconnect movement. It's all about just detaching from technology, which is basically just draining our souls of life.
Well, it is. And I think that, for me personally, I get so much more out of the human connection. Yeah. Out of really, because for me, there's nothing like watching that light bulb go on, like that aha moment. Yeah, yeah. And to be a part of that and know you're a part of that, not only do you get to give that, but you also get to receive it. When my mentors, give me information, I get that, okay. There's no better feeling. Yeah. Because now I've learned something new and I get to share something new. And I think, again, that's part of being emotionally intelligent, is knowing that this information really isn't yours. Yeah. It's a gift. It's a gift. And so you're supposed to share it. Share that thing. And so for me, it's like, you can have it all, because I'm just going to get more. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm just going to get more. I'm not going to run out, because I'm a student. I'm a lifelong learner. Yeah. So the more I share, the more I seem to get. Well, focus to win. Common people attaining uncommon results. That's the book this week we're sharing. We're showing it off. Was this number 3? Was this book number 3? That was actually book number 1. This was 1. That was 1. We're not focus on the final seconds. Well, that's we need to put that back in print. That was the ultimate preprint. That was preprint. Right? Okay, only OGs know about that. There you go. You got to be like old school Almon to really know about focus on the final seconds and win the game of life. Right. But this was actually the first one in the series, because it was. I felt like in order to get this thing going, people need to know their value. Got it. Like you got to know who you are. Like, because if you don't, man, the world it'll tell you. It'll push you in some places you don't want to be. Yeah. So it was like, hey, how do we go behind these words? Ultimately, you're going to hit what you focus on. So this was our first deal, dude. That's awesome. First deal out of the box. So good. Common people attaining uncommon results. I think that's. Well, there's a lot of recognition in that. Like, we are, I think you said it, Eunice used to tell you,
you're not better than anybody else. Ain't nobody better than you.
That's what I mean. That's the name of the game.
Yeah.
You ain't better than nobody. Nobody's better than you.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately the things that we hold dear and the things that we think are great was all by just common people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just
common people, but refused to give up, just kept working, knew what their time was worth.
Yeah.
Self-regulated.
Yeah.
Was aware, had empathy for others, knew it was bigger than them.
Yeah.
And then ultimately they arrive at a place where a lot of people can benefit from what they do. So those are the things, man, that keep me going every day.
It's awesome.
Like every day.
Consistently.
Yeah, we have that opportunity, dude.
And you taught me this thing that you do. It's I'm Eunice's son.
Yeah.
And I do that now. I'm like I'm Grace's son.
That's what
dude. When things don't add up, when the math is fuzzy,
yes.
I just say in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm Henry's grandson.
That's it.
I'm Bill's son. I'm Grayson. Like,
dude,
think about the people that went before you.
That's my thing. That's my thing, man. I constantly go, man, I'm Eunice's oldest boy. You know what I mean? I'm the oldest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and so I constantly say those things as reminders of the sacrifices and the commitment that they made to make the world a better place. You know, when I think about my grandfather and my father, like dude,
the character and integrity.
They put it in, man.
Yeah.
Like my papa put it in. Like he put it in to give me a shot.
Yep.
And so I feel like, how can I let that down?
Yeah.
Like you can't do that. You gotta wake up every day and give it effort and make the best choices you can, have a good attitude.
Awesome.
So
man, I tell you what, we're bringing the heat back again this week.
Oh yeah. I mean, listen, this is where we are. Hey, look, we appreciate you guys joining us, but this is where it's gonna be.
Yeah.
Like this is what we're gonna do every week. We're gonna make a commitment to really be truthful and lay it out there and hopefully give you information that help you, change your life and deal with the things that come at you every day. Because trust me, life ain't gonna stop lifing. I promise you that. So
well, and emotional intelligence, it sounds kind of catchy, but I do think for whether you're a professional or student, student athlete, it's an undervalued thing.
Oh, for sure.
That I saw where Google did a poll over 2 years on emotional intelligence, and their top leaders, 80% of them had extremely high emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
So from a performance elite athlete, being able to really do well in the game of life, learning how to grow that. And the funny thing to me, I take a lot of comfort in this. I don't know how much you can really increase your IQ, but I know you can work on your EQ, and sometimes involuntarily you're working on that EQ. You might as well sign up.
Well, no doubt about it. And to me, man, the whole learning to read a room, knowing how to read a room, man, can put you in give you some really good opportunities.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I see it with you. Every time you speak, every time you walk into a room, you understand the environment instantly. Quickly.
Hey, like I
probably know it before you even walk in.
Like I tell everybody, man, when I hit a room, oh no, that's my deal. Is really, I love to people watch, but I love people.
Yeah.
So when I walk in a room, I love people. And so I'm listening, man, I'm hearing and I'm trying to figure out those things that help me connect to everyone in the room. I train thousands of athletes, but every one of them think they're the only athlete I train.
Yeah.
Because I really connect with them and dial into what's important in their lives. So
that's awesome, man.
Again, man, we love you guys being here with us.
Yeah.
This is fun.
Yeah.
This is getting to hang out with my baby bro and just talk our talk. It's good stuff. So
that's it, man. That's it.
So hey,
we'll be back. We'll be back next week.
Hey, you know how we do that thing? Man, every day game day. Shoot, Gunter Dorsey. We what?
We out.
We out.